Good evening, beautiful people. Big night tonight. We're going to go over somebody that I think is going to be the number one target on defense from free agency and trade perspective for the Buffalo Bills moving forward, with the news today that told us that Jonathan Greenard from the Minnesota Vikings will be officially on the trade block because the Vikings can no longer afford him. This is huge news. Massive news. This guy is an absolute stud, and he does not carry the weight or the money that, Brian, how are you? That someone like Max Crosby carries. Okay. I know Max Crosby, we talked about earlier a little bit earlier on in the day. And quite honestly, a few weeks now, he's the hot commodity. He's the edge rusher, averaging, roughly 12 sacks a year for his career. He's the guy that most want. He's the guy that most think will be moved. He is the guy that is the highest touted. Now Trey Hendrickson is also he has not been franchise tagged, so he will also be a full-blown free agent, unrestricted. But we're talking about the trade block right now, and Jonathan Greenard is an absolute beast. Brian, LR, how are you, brother? Good to see you. LR, how are you, ma'am? He's a stud. Greenard's a stud. We're going to go through a few things. We're going to kind of teeter-totter this and gel this into a episode 3 of Buffalo Hold'em. Now, this is quick, not like the other 2 episodes that we had, meaning this was the preparation. I didn't get too much. That said, I was started to watch some film on this guy, and it's insane. Hey, man, how are you? Well, it's the guy's a high motor, reminds me a lot like Michael Hoyt. He likes to play in a 2-point stance, a 2-point position on the defensive line. On the outside, he gets real wide from time to time. And I think it would fit into Jim Leonard's defense as much as almost anybody. And I'm being dead serious. I'm being dead serious with it. So first thing is first, let's follow or watch Bernard. I'm sorry, not watch, but we're going to take a look at what his contract looks like first, okay? Did I say Greenard? I apologize. Greenard. All right. Jonathan Greenard, Minnesota Vikings, just let him go, saying they got to get rid of him via trade because they cannot afford him. Now, I think the Buffalo Bills need to take advantage of this and almost damn near immediately. Right away. Before we go any further, please, as we always say, now, if you're new to this channel, I appreciate you coming in and hanging out. I really do. Do me a favor, subscribe and follow, depending on which platform you're in, so you never miss. And hit that notification bell. Like this video, share this video. Make sure you don't miss another notification when we go live, when we post a video. Like I told you guys earlier, we're going to be doing this a lot more often. We've carved out a bunch of time, so we're going to continue. But follow and subscribe to help the channel grow. I appreciate every single one of you. I love you. All right, let's get back. Okay, Jonathan Greenard. He's 28 years old. He'll be 29 come the beginning of next season. And here's his contract. This is literally the base salary is what is owed by the next team that trades for him. Okay. This signing proration is not. That was cash up front. And the way that they allocated that contract was only $3.3 million would not hit the books on a per year basis in terms of the actual cap itself. Okay. But the base salary, which we're showing here, which is $18.4 million for 2026 and for 2027, will be taken on by the new team whenever he gets traded and whoever he gets traded to. That's how the trade works with this salary. Now, if it was flipped vice versa, and it was $3 million base salary and $18 million signing bonus, then the signing bonus would not be owed by the new team. So that is heavy on the salary side compared to the signing bonus. However, It is not, and I repeat, it is not a crazy number with a man of his style of production and his amount of production, and most certainly his abilities on the football field. And we're going to get into that. We're going to show some film. Now, just to make mention again, this 360,000 active roster bonus, okay, that might come into play. I believe it is, and a workout bonus, fine. But that's obviously pennies, doesn't mean anything. Dead cap, 9.9. So that's what they're going to eat, basically. They are saying we will eat this money because we don't and we cannot afford the 19 million plus the bonuses, plus the signing bonus, plus the the roster bonus, workout bonus. So as you see here in 2026, even if it's pre 6-1, okay, so if it's post 6-1 trade, it would actually save them more money. The Vikings would save $18.8 million. But I have to assume what the Vikings are looking for here is a pre-draft trade and trying to get some draft stock and some draft capital, which I'm almost promising you will happen. Okay. I'm almost certain that that'll happen prior to the draft. So the Minnesota Vikings, who are clearly going in the direction of continuing, I guess, to rebuild, will show the fact that they want this to happen prior to the draft so they can get something back out of it in return. So that's what's going on with Minnesota, and this is the number. So basically, if this trade gets made, I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know if they're looking for first rounders, second rounders, third rounders. My assumption is it's not going to be a first, okay? I think there's going to be a second round pick involved for Greenard, possibly a second and maybe a third for the following year. If we can get away with a second plus a third, or a second plus a fourth, and we can take on $19 million. I know we're playing the Hold'em game, and I want you to tell me, I'm giving you the hand, and you have to deal, you have to do what you feel. But my opinion is absolute no-brainer. And I'm being dead serious with you guys. I am being completely honest when I say a second and a fourth is an absolute no-brainer for this man right here. There is no way in the world he should not be on the Minnesota Vikings. Or, I'm sorry, the Buffalo Bills next year. Unless, of course, someone really steps up and does something insane. Now, I don't know if they're, again, I don't believe that it's come out to where the Vikings have said exactly what it is that they're looking for. So until that happens, we can only speculate. But I do believe that it'll be somewhere in the hemisphere of a second round pick, possibly a second and a fourth for the following year. All right. Next, we're going to get into some. So anyway, recap that. 2 years worth. You can restructure that. As soon as you trade, you can restructure and get that 19 million down to whatever and stretch it out over another 2-3 years. 3 probably years to help your salary cap. So that big first number isn't necessarily where you're going to end. That 18.4 million does not have to be all of 18.4 for next year. You can restructure that and make that 10. Again, you're going to have to restructure him once he gets traded because there's only 2 years left. So I'm assuming that you'd even want to add another third year and negotiate that deal down to something normal. I don't want to say normal, something more beneficial for the Buffalo Bills, which will absolutely happen. Freeman Miller, how are you, Freeman? So let's take a look at some film, shall we? I think we should take a look at some film. I didn't have much time today, but we're still going to get into Jonathan Greenard and how freakish this man is. And I am really, really intrigued, and I would like to see Jonathan Greenard become a Buffalo Bill. 100%. 100%. He might even be my number one defensive pick at this moment because of what he can, in terms of his value, plus what he can do on the football field. So let's do that. No, I don't want to do that one first. Jonathan Greenard, just keep in mind, just so we know, only played 10 games this year. He did have a shoulder injury that he suffered that he did not finish out the year. It's not like he was running back to a Minnesota Vikings team that, was in a playoff push. I don't know that he would have made it back anyways, which is possible, if there was a big implications in terms of actual football being played past the regular season for the Minnesota Vikings. But I all I know is that the man only played 10 games. Therefore, when you look at his statistics, his box score stuff, it's not going to jump off the page at you. But if you prorate that out, again, could be extremely, extremely good. All right, number one. Where do I want to start? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Here's Greenard. You're going to notice on these clips that predominantly he likes to, like I said, stand upright when he's on the line of scrimmage. Not your uncles. Freeman Miller, back in, baby. Follow along on TikTok, please. He likes to stand up in a two-point stance. I believe that this is going to be very cohesive in the Jim Leonard defense. The Vikings have, in these clips, you'll see 4 or 5 linemen, okay? That said, he can line up inside. He shifts around a lot. He's very athletic, and in a 3-4 defense like Jim Leonard's is, I don't see a reason why he does not fit that style defense phenomenally. C-Cal, how you doing? How are you? Why he does not fit that that mold extremely, extremely well. He's almost like a 7 to 9 guy when he splits out this wide. But let's watch this film. What are we doing? I'm talking too much. Let's watch. This is the first game of the year, actually. See, he shoves inside. Look at this. Just busting things up. So he shifts from wide, comes down a little bit. He sees that tight end in the back, and he sees the motion coming. This is the stunt that the offensive line is actually running. They're running a little mismatch here. The tackle is going to pin down this 3 guy here, the offensive tackle, and then the guard's going to actually pull and hope to kick out Greenard. And then you have the tight end and the man in motion, both trying to set a V lane for this running back and create that hole that way. But watch what Greenard does not allow to happen. So that's what he's trying to do. Pinch down and then kick him out, Greenard. But Greenard says, no, thank you. And he's so fast that he gets underneath. Watch this. He gets underneath 73, that pulling guard, so much so and so quickly that the tight end who's lining up as a fullback didn't even try to help. He wasn't even helping. Hey, how are you? See, Cal? He wasn't even helping. He went through the hole because he thought he was taken care of, but no, he was not, because Greenard just blew the dang thing up. So that pulling guard, not going to happen. Greenard is too quick, too athletic, and he got around the pull. He was supposed to be pushed out that way anyway. There is a hole there. He just gets underneath with his leverage from the pulling guard, almost goes down to a knee, gets around that corner, and stuffs this handoff for minus, I don't know what it is, 3 yards, I think. I mean, that's freakishly athletic. That's blowing things up. And this man is not the biggest guy on the planet, okay? So let's just call that out right now. Okay, he is technically 6'3", 260. I mean, it's a big boy, but he's not enormous. But he's athletic as hell for his size. Athletic as hell. He's obviously extremely strong as well. So there's one nice example about his athleticism and winding up almost in the 9 spot and down the line once he understands and diagnoses the play. And then a pulling guard ain't doing shit, pushing him out with a wedge block. So Keep that understood, right? Keep that in your belt. Ethan Davis, I'm really liking these live episodes. You're doing really good with making that. I appreciate you, Ethan. Thank you. Yeah, man, we're having a great day. You? How are you? I hope you're well. Appreciate you hanging out. This is a big one for me because I think that this is a actual viable option that the Bills need to do whatever it takes to go after. And I'm being I shouldn't say that. Not whatever it takes, but this is such an option for me because of the fact that it should not take anywhere near what the likes of Max Crosby are going to take. Okay. Max Crosby, we know what that's going to take. 2 first-rounders and a stud player, and then whatever, $35 million a year. Not this guy, but this guy's an absolute beast. Now, mind you, and I'll pull this up here. Actually, we can do it right now. We'll shift this. We're going to shift over here. Okay, so here's Greenard's numbers over his career, all right? If you see on the bottom, 12 games played. I'm sorry, 10 started because he was hurt. Over here, this is the sack column. He had a couple years here before this year when he got injured of 12.5 and then 12 sacks for Minnesota. I'm sorry, 1 in Houston and then 1 in Minnesota. So 2 almost identical seasons. He had 11 votes, it looks like, for Defensive Player of the Year a couple years ago. And then he got hurt, like I said, with his shoulder. And he was on one of the worst teams in football. So the rush to come back obviously is not there, right? It's just not. So this man knows how to play football. This man knows how to get after the quarterback, and it's speed, power combination. Like I just showed the first clip, that he's got what it takes to be an absolute stud. And this man need be a Buffalo Bill. A Buffalo Bill need to be made out of Jonathan Greenard. And I know we're doing Buffalo Hold'em, and I'm trying to make you guys decide, right? Allow you to decide. I'm just going to give the information, deal you your hand, and you're going to make your opinion. You're going to make your play. I'm excited about this one. I got to be honest with you. I put out a post a couple days ago after episode 2. I said, who do you guys want to see for episode 3? Jalen Waddle 1. All right, so I'm going to be honest with that. Jalen Waddle will be episode 4 unless something else crazy happens. But Jalen Waddle 1, we're going to do an episode on him. We're going to do the same type of deal here shortly. But because of the news that was broke today that says that the Vikings are putting Jonathan Greenard on the trade block because they can't afford him and they have cap issues, I had to make this video, and he had to be number 3. I'm sorry. And while I just showed you that one, the last clip, we're going to go on to the second one here any minute. I'm just going to show you this. Just so you know, this broke today. Vikings are now open to trading Pro Bowl edge rusher Jonathan Greenard per source. This is Adam Schefter. They would like to keep Greenard, but they also have salary cap issues they're working through that have led to these trade conversations. So, you know, it's not like they're upset with the man. It's not like they don't think that he was playing up to snuff. It's just they simply can't afford him, and the direction of that team is going horrible. So they're no longer going to want to keep him around. And he's trade bait because he still has 2 years left on their contract. So they can at least try to get something for it. And again, Drewski, how are you, Drewski? Good evening, brother. As long as they get something for it, it'll make the blow lessened a little bit. You're going to give up a great player. And stuff happens. Once in a while, something like this happens. Somebody that you can probably give up a second and maybe a fourth the next year comes into play because of scenarios that are out of your control. It's not that he did anything. It's not his problem. It's not his fault. The team is just in a situation where they just crapped on their quarterback, their young quarterback. They basically said he's not the answer. They got rid of their running back, the veteran running back, and Aaron Jones, excuse me. Is Justin Jefferson next? Who knows? Who knows? At this point, you'd have to assume so. You'd have to assume the Vikings are just saying, you know what? Just like the Dolphins, I wouldn't doubt that the Vikings turn into the Dolphins. Just let them rip. especially Justin Jefferson. Depending on what they get for Greenard here, if they're trying to save $12 million, then what the hell would they save for Justin Jefferson? You know what I'm saying? Think about that one. Yeah, 2026 savings, 12.2, well, or 18.8 if they wait till after June. But again, they're not going to get anything draft-wise if they wait till after June. So I don't think that is going to happen. I think this trade right here for Greenard is going to – I'm sorry, yes, for Greenard will happen pre-June 1st. I do. I truly feel that. Okay, let's get on to the next video. Well, actually, hold on. We got some comments in here. We got to hit. Drewski. Appreciate you, brother. Doing good. Should we go after Alec Pierce in free agency with him not being franchise tagged? Drewski asked. Kelly Farrell, how are you, Kelly? Nice to see you. Drewski, great point. You have Hendrickson that wasn't tagged. You have Alec Pierce that wasn't tagged. Alec Pierce, they're saying the market on him is $20 million a year. And for someone that really has not gotten the wide receiver one targets yet, I don't know if that's enough for me to pay that kind of money. But that's me. I like Alec Pierce, but I like him because he's a deep threat and he scores touchdowns. Other than that, and I know obviously those are two very big things, but Alec Pierce is so touchdown dependent. I don't want to say dependent, but such a vast amount of his receptions are touchdowns that I don't know. I don't know if he's my number one guy that I want to pay $20 million to. I think for me, for Cold Front, for Dustin, I think my $20 million a year receiver is a guy that is a true number one that catches the ball like 8 to 10 times every game almost. You know what I'm saying? And will have 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. Everything for 25 million. But it's hard to find, right? Hard to find. So, Drewski, I don't know if it's 20. Okay, great question. What if it was 15? I'm a hell of a lot more in at 15 because that's only $4 more million than Joshua Palmer. Joshua Palmer hasn't done nothing, right? Nothing. So for an extra $4 million, if I can get Alec Pierce numbers, yes. Now, we have to figure out how to get rid of Palmer, but yes, 15 million, Drewski, I'm in on Alec Pierce. Okay, next film here. Next clip. What do we want to do? I don't want to do the sack yet. So what did we just do? We did the speed. Okay. Here we are. All right. So you're going to see him now on the right-hand side of the screen. Still on the line, but he's still in a 2-point. Okay. Like we said, standing up. This is a 5-man front all in all, but this is a very similar look to what a 3-4 can be. Okay. And again, talking about Jim Leonard, this is why I think Greenard, this is like my icing on the cake. This is why Greenard even more so should be taken. I don't want to say taken, he's not a free agent, but should be traded for by the Buffalo Bills. I think it would fit Jim Leonard perfectly. So this could be a 3-4. I mean, you could call Greenard a linebacker if you want. He doesn't generally play off the ball, but his athleticism, his body, his skill set could easily be an outside linebacker. You know, the interchangeableness of some edge / linebackers these days in the NFL, it's like one and the same almost sometimes. It really is. So I'm not afraid of calling this even a 3-4 look. Middle, down on the 3 or 4 points, and then the two edge guys or linebackers on the line in a 2-point, and then you have your two actual, like your Mike and Sam there. So, listen, call whatever you want. Let's watch. See that motion again. What does he do with the motion? It's like he reads the other team's playbooks, by the way. This is the second play in a row. Now, I only have a couple clips here because literally I did all this in like 45 minutes. So I got to do more on him, and I'm going to. And if you want me to continue on him later tomorrow, or if trade talks get a little heavier, I will, because I personally will be getting more educated on Greenard over the next 24 hours, 48 at most. So I'll keep you updated, but just tell me, chat me, send me a message or an email or something, and let me know if you want to continue on Greenard after you see what you see. I'm going to start it over. I don't want to keep talking. I just want to let it play here. Jesus, look at the hands. Look at the hands. Did you see it? Did you see it? Boom. Nope. That's an offensive tackle that just shit himself. Excuse my language. Trying to slow down the speed for you guys, but when I'm like screen recording it, it's a pain in the butt. Anyway, you see what he does. He sees the motion and he immediately does his shuffle down the line of scrimmage just like he did on the first play. And here, I mean, that's just a complete whiff. Well, that's two whiffs. That's two offensive tackle whiffs. And I'm not even talking pass rushing. These are on handoffs. These are on handoffs that are designed to go over the guard in like B gaps. Okay. I mean, look at this. You got a pulling, you got a man in motion, and the pulling guard. It's literally supposed to go right up the gut, maybe the right side B gap, and Greenard just smacks the hands, chops the hands down, semi-swim move after a shuffle, and watch the left hand, goes right up over the helmet, huge swim, cuts the hands by number 75, who attempts to try to stick his hands out. Doesn't fare well. Watch right here. Nope. He almost tries to hug him. That doesn't work either. Those hands are violent, fellas, and he's just athletic. He's just moving around. Hips are fluid. Body is fluid. A lot of motion, range of motion with this guy. And he's 265 pounds, but he doesn't even try that. He didn't even – oh, he just completely swims. He just swims the more I look at this. I mean, you can't teach – well, you can. You obviously can help teach this, but this guy is just naturally freakish. And he's a tough cover. This is me explaining that he did 1, 2, 3 shuffle to try to – this is almost like – hold on, I'm going to pause this. I don't know if you guys are basketball fans. I played college basketball for a year. When I was done playing minor league baseball, I went back to try to finish school, which I didn't, by the way. And I had 1 year eligibility in the same school, knew that, and I played a year of basketball. So I'll make some basketball references as well. It's like he baits 3 dribbles with his left hand, knowing that he's baiting that defender into thinking he's going to his left, the defender's right, and then a quick crossover to his right side. He baits him. I'm telling you, that's what these shuffles are. It's shuffle, yeah, and he goes the other way. Sorry, I'm getting too animated probably, but shuffle, crossover. And in this instance, shuffle, swim move, and he just crushes the guy. He baits him. Watch the shuffle. Watch it. Okay, here we go. Shuffle. Boom. Hard to cover, man. Hard to put a helmet on that guy, obviously. Cheapers, creepers. The tackle thought that he was just pinching down the line of scrimmage, just like 83. So he thought he was just going to be able to blast his momentum, blast him with the direction that he's going. And nope, Greenard says, no, thank you. Now, that's kind of a risk on his part. Kind of a risk for him to then shoot back to his right and swim move over the right tackle. But that said, he took his shot and it worked out. And it worked out because if he doesn't do that and he doesn't fill his gap, which is his role, and he takes a whiff and that running back cuts back to the left side, if it was more like a zone concept, cuts back to the left and Greenard is too far downfield that he actually squeaks in front of him to the offense's left side, then that could be a mistake. But listen, you take chances and they work out, then they're called great plays. What do you think about that one, boys and girls? Let's get back to some comments. The Ox is in the house, baby. A little late, but here for appointment thing. Okay, I know what you mean now. You said that, I think, last night. Gotcha. Thank you. Welcome. No, he's not a free agent. He's got 2 years left in Minnesota on a contract. But okay, Trey. Okay, yeah. Maybe this was a few minutes ago. Dadpool, what's up, baby? How are you, man? As you can tell, boys and girls, I'm super pumped about Greenard. And I got another clip for you. We're going to show here in a moment. I'm super pumped about this guy. He needs to be a Bill. It's just Just the bottom line. Yes, absolutely. It depends. Okay, so the comment here is Greenard would be a good fit with the Bills, but it depends on what the trade package would be. You're absolutely correct. It does. And my understanding, oh, sorry, Drewski, I'll be right with you. I see your thing here. When I'm doing the film on YouTube, I can't just get me to 1,000 followers over here on TikTok, and then I only have to pay attention to one thing, and it'll be on TikTok as well. So I think it's going to be a second round pick. Now, it might be a second plus like a fourth, maybe a fifth, maybe. I don't think it's going to be just one second rounder. I think there'll be a little bit more to that. My take. But I think a second and a fourth or a second and a fifth, I'm done all day. Here you go, Minnesota. Goodbye. Especially if it's this year, because I don't think that the second round, I mean, it gets real depthy in this year's draft, in my opinion. Especially if we're getting a guy like this. He's 29 by the way. He's going to be 29. Going to be 29 by the time the season starts. In May, actually, he'll be 29. What type of trade do you feel like he's worth? Okay. If I'm Minnesota, I want a second and a third. But they kind of put their cards out there by saying that we're opening up trade talks to him because if they really did, or if it got leaked or whatever, if they really came out and said it's because we have cap implications, then, well, you probably shouldn't have said that, if I'm being honest. Because if I'm a general manager for another team like the Bills that could really use a guy like this, then I'm taking advantage of you leaking that or that coming out somehow, some way. Okay, so Trusky says, me personally, I think he's getting too injury prone and would get some good stuff for him. And we would get some good stuff for him. Who are you talking about? Drewski? Are you talking about Greenard? Because we don't have him yet. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the first comment, which was, with Jim Leonard's scheme, do we trade Ed Oliver or can we adapt him to it? No, I think Ed Oliver would be just fine in that scheme. And actually, we were talking about that earlier. And a lot of people are saying, give Ed Oliver and 2 first-rounders for Max Crosby. And I say, hell no. Because Eddie Oliver, to me, is a freaking stud. And I want to see him with Greg Russo and with now Jonathan Greenard and with Deion Walker and with the X factor of all X factors, folks. We're going to do another one of these. Well, he's not going anywhere, but we're going to highlight him anyways because I love him to death. Michael Hoyt. Michael Hoyt's going to be a Bill next year, and I don't think he's even on the bubble, but I'm going to highlight him just because I love him. We're going to have a Michael Hoyt appreciation day. I got to find out when his birthday is, and I'm going to highlight the hell out of him. We should all do it for an hour, just nothing but Michael Hoyt clips. We don't have many from the Buffalo Bills. Lord knows that, but there'll be plenty out there, and we just talk about him for literally an hour and a half. I'm in. If anybody else is in with Michael Hoyt, please. I am so in. Second and fourth for Greenard sounds fair. Seems fair. Yeah, I think if Bean could get, I'd love to just say, you know what, second, and we're done. I highly doubt Jefferson would be able to be paid by the, sorry. You're right. Would be, I'm sorry, I'll read it. I highly doubt Jefferson would be able to be paid by the Bills. He would need $40 million. You're right. You're right, Doxis. But I'm just saying that it seems to me as if that's the direction Minnesota's going. And before you know it, I think he's gonna be out there, and they're gonna say, "Talk to us, give me your offers." Alec Pierce is like going to the Patriots. Yeah, but yes, they also had. Just keep in mind they had Kenyon Booty, who was by statistic measurements the number 1 deep ball wide receiver in the NFL. So obviously the speed was not necessarily Booty's main deal. Like he wasn't just take the roof off. It wasn't much yard after catch after the deep ball. It wasn't catch and run for another 20 for, a 65-yard touchdown for him, but it was contested catches and it was sideline go routes well-placed balls, I must admit, by Drake May, but he also was a very strong-handed top of the catch point type of guy, Booty. So different in a sense, of course, to Pierce, but I don't know if they want to spend that money, again, like I was saying earlier, on a receiver that is kind of all or nothing, or do they want to, are they kind of like in the Bills situation, which is they need a true target eater and multiple catch every night type guy? And that's going to be the question for the Patriots. And I think the Bills, I mean, that you all know what I feel, but I think the Bills need more of the eat up targets, be a vacuum to the football, and get your first downs. Get your first downs. I know we're just spending like monopoly money, but I could see a world where I'd be totally okay with, if we're not going to make a massive wide receiver one splash like a Jefferson or a Waddle, but a Romeo Doubs plus Alec Pierce. I'm down with that duo. What I see from Greenard is a lot of speed off the edge. I'm not familiar with him due to being an NFC. Yeah, Deoxys, like it jumps off the page when you turn on the film immediately. But it's not all speed, because the first clip, and Deoxys, did you see the first clip? Because if you didn't, I'm going to play it again for you. The first clip, although it was speed, it was also lower half strength to rip underneath and through the tackle from the other side of the football, the other side of the line of scrimmage. Just shoot me a message here real quick, Deoxys, if you saw how many clips did you see? One or two? Because we showed two, and if you didn't see the first one, I'm going to replay it for you real quick. Where is Dexy? That is the question. Dexy, you out there? Oh, wait, what I see? Well, there we go. Greenard makes sense for Bills. Good value. Crosby is too expensive, both in cash and picks. Right. It's tough. These big boys are just not. They're not. I mean, I don't know where the money go. Like, where would the money go if we're spending $30 million on Max Crosby? You know, I mean, you could restructure it if you trade him, but at some point you're going to pay him $30+ million. And I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm saying great, but we have problems. The Buffalo Bills do. And I know you can clean up and get 50 or 60 million this year, but with the structures and the releases of some of the guys, for sure. And trading some of the guys, if you can find acceptable partners. So if that all can happen, and you have to have Josh Allen be totally okay with restructuring, him again and again and again, and he won't get paid until he's 42, which he probably doesn't care. But that's going to have to happen. Because, like it or not, you got two offensive linemen that, in my opinion, you need, and that you're not going to keep them, but one of them is going to have to get paid a pretty stinking penny. If I'm being real, it's going. McGovern. I mean, this dude from I think it's Cincinnati. I forget his name. Just announced that he was retiring today. He's a 27-year-old center. I hope he's okay mentally and stuff. You never know with these guys. They go through a lot of different reasons for him to be retiring when he's 27. So I hope he's okay, first and foremost. But that said, you got a 27-year-old center, a good center, by the way, that is retiring. You think that's bringing Connor McGovern's number down for what he's worth? Come on. No, it's not. Mula, how are you, Mula? It's simply not. Everything is going up. Everything is going up. All right, so Dexy says he did not. We're going to go back to the first one, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you don't mind. You can't mind, because when you watch this guy in film, it's like that's not the one. Here it is. Let's bring this thing back. All right, bring it to the end. All right, he's on the left-hand side here. Somewhat of the same style. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. No, it's not true. All right, there's his creep down tighter to the line with the man in motion. Ooh, man. You see this, Dexy? Deoxys? Sorry. So speed to get around what you would think is the tackle, but it's not the tackle. It's actually the guard that's pulling. They're doing like a little offensive stunt crossing here. He's going to pin down the tackle's going to pin down the inside tackle here on the defensive line, and then the guard's right behind him trying to push Greenard out. He doesn't allow it. He beats him to it. You'll see right here. And then here's where the strength comes into play. You see, he's leaning on Greenard's shoulders. If he's not strong, coupled with speed, he falls to the ground, but he's able to keep his body leveraged there, not go to the ground, and then meet the running back 3-4 yards deep and bring him down for about a 3-yard loss. That's silly. That's silly. Couple that with the first one that you saw, the second film, the second clip that we showed here. So he does the same thing. He creeps down low, starts out real wide in like a 9 slot, creeps real low. This is what the offensive line is trying to do. Crack down, push out, tight end, and the tight end who's in the backfield, the fullback will go right up the hole, hit number 51, and then they have a really big play. Quite frankly, if he doesn't make this play, they probably run. That might be a touchdown. Look what's behind him. There's a helmet on a man everywhere because this tight end who's in the fullback in the backfield, he's coming through this hole, putting a helmet on 51. The wide receiver over to our left mans up in the backfield as well, the defensive backfield. And right at the end, like, look right here. I mean, if he doesn't get caught back there by Greenard, everybody else did a really good job. He might take that thing to the house. He might take that to the friggin' house. So I'm going to show it again. Again, without stopping it. I stop it while I'm filming and drawing on the screens and stuff. Tay, hey, brother. How are you, Tay? We're talking about Jonathan Greenard, Tay. Hop on over to YouTube if you want to see it. The films. Cold Front Buffalo YouTube. Sick stuff. We need this guy in Buffalo, bro. I'm telling you, Tay. We need Jonathan Greenard in Buffalo immediately. All right. Yes, stop that. This guy's a stud. Bills hurt themselves. Let me get this up here so I can see. Bills hurt themselves in cap management by kind of going all in last year. If they do that again this year, it'll be tough down the road. Yeah, but a lot of teams do that. I mean, a lot of teams do. What happens is I actually tend to lean on the side of do whatever the hell you got to do right now and then figure it out later. Because if you don't and you get too cute and you're always worried about down the road, then Super Bowls pass you by, Bills. And then you look at teams like the Rams and the Eagles who just spend it all, baby. They just spend it all. And they all make what everyone wants to call stupid financial decisions. And even Brandon Beane is quoted. He's quoted. I'm not going to quote him because I don't have it up in front of me. I'm going to paraphrase him. But he was quoted saying something along the lines of, I don't want to make the same mistake the Rams did, which is go all out to be successful one year and then have basically shit on ourselves the next 3-4 years. But what happened to that Rams team? They went right back to the Super Bowl and won it. So, I don't agree. I don't agree with it at all. I say go after it immediately and figure it out later. I mean, okay, because here's the question. To all Bills Mafia, Cold Front Mafia. Yeah, Tay, he's an absolute dog, bro. I'm telling you. He's an absolute dog. Here's the question. Everybody Bills fan. Would you take a Super Bowl next year or the year after? Then in 2 additional years, so in 4 or 5 years from now, not making the playoffs or barely squeaking into the playoffs for the next 2-3 years? Because I would. Sorry to say it. If we won a Super Bowl in 2026, well, in February of 27, and then in 3 years from now, we didn't make the playoffs 1 or 2 straight years, I'm okay. I'm doing it. Now, would I still be mad at them while they weren't making the playoffs? You bet your ass. But I'd still bet it. I'd still take that in a heartbeat. Dead morning for multiple bills make them uncuttable. Yeah, well, yes, that's true. Some of the moves are horrible. Some of the moves that we've made are absolutely horrible. Josh Palmer, horrible move. Well, that's legit different type of speed as disguised quickness. Now I want him on the pitches. No. How's that? You cut it out. You cut it out, Deoxys. You ain't going to New England. All right? Damn it. You ain't going to New England. Why did I miss this one? Trade at Oliver and $24 million contract and Knox is 17. No. Knox is going to play for less. Watch. Knox is going to play for less. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's going to look, but I actually think Dawson Knox will just simply play for less money. I might be being way too confident and overzealous there, but I don't think Knox can play for another team. Ed Oliver? No. When Ed Oliver healthy, I'll give him one more year. If Ed Oliver stays healthy, watch. Nasty. If he doesn't, okay, then I'm okay. Now, the more years that he stays hurt, the harder it is to get rid of him, of course. But he's just an absolute wrecker, bro. He wrecks games. He wrecks games when he's healthy. Yes, we talked about that. Bills absolutely should trade a second and maybe a third or fourth. Yes, I'm telling you. Some other random mastered free. Yeah, that's my point. Like, that's exactly what I mean. It's exactly what I mean. The Rams have mastered free agency, and that way they spend more money than they have. And I'm not saying they're poor. I'm just saying more money that's allowed, basically. And they just, listen, they had Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua. Well, Puka hasn't really gotten paid yet, has he? Has Puka Nacua gotten paid yet? But Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams got paid. They're almost like, like the Bengals. Like everyone says, how can you pay a quarterback and two number one wide receivers? Well, I don't know. The Rams did it. And they had a filthy defense. Filthy. Draft well. Get free agent. Find people before they are due $30 million a year. That's how you do it. Because you know damn well you're going to have to give your quarterback at least that. You know damn well you're going to have to give your stud receivers at least that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able, the word is develop. You have to be able to get young people that are not due all the money and get them to perform before they're due the money. Or they become worth the money while you're paying them pennies on the dollar. That's how it happens. Yeah, look at this. Puka Nacua. The man's made like no money in his career. Like nothing. I just have to show you this while I'm looking at it. I can't not show you. I just pulled it up because I was curious because we were talking about it. Let me get this out of here. Here's Puka Nacua. He's also going to be 20. He's going to be in May birthday, excuse me. This is how you do it, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do it. You have Puka Nacua level production when you paid him the last 2 years less than $4 million. What is the total? I want to know what he's made total so far. Career earnings, $2.9 million in his career, ladies and gentlemen. That's Puka freaking Nacua. And this year, 5.7, which is an absolute steal. They're saying that's an estimate. That's an absolute freaking steal. You better re-sign him or restructure him like immediately. Because if he has one more year like that, this man might set the world on fire. He might be the highest paid wide receiver of all time. And I'm being dead serious. Anybody disagree with that? If he has another year this year like he did last year or the 2 years ago, he will literally want the most money anyone's ever made as a wide receiver. It won't be a stupid ask either. I would rather win one Super Bowl than have 5 losing seasons than to be in the playoffs 6 years in a row. That is what the Pats are trying to do, win a Super Bowl. Agreed. Now, that's difficult. 5 losing seasons in a row for one Super Bowl. That's difficult. That's a half a freaking decade. But I like my scenario better. Win a Super Bowl, and then 3 years later, don't make the playoffs for a year or two. How's that? That's even better, right? But I'm with you. Super Bowl's a goal. Exactly. The point is Super Bowl's a goal. I'd take a Super Bowl win. I need it. I was a teen when we lost 4 straight. Dad pool, fair enough. So that, I mean, that hurts, and I want it for you, and I want it for everybody, and nobody deserves to go through that BS. Nobody deserves it. So I was 5, 6, 7, and 8. I was born in 86. So you must have been born in like 80, maybe 1980-ish, maybe. Dadpool, if you were a teen. Truth be told, the Pats are not in the Super Bowl. If the Pats are not in the Super Bowl, I root for the teams with the least Super Bowl wins, so the Pats still have the most all-time wins. Yeah, I get you. Pats win tiebreaker over Steelers due to conference titles. Okay, conference titles. That's the tiebreaker, huh? So appearances, I guess, is the tiebreaker. Some would say that's not a good tiebreaker because that means you have a lot of Super Bowl losses. I'm just saying, different way to look at it. So I root for the Bills, my second team, yes, even though the same division, yes. Now, I think you root for the Bills because Bills Mafia, and we're all just like really cool people. We're just fantastic dudes and ladies. That's why you root for the Bills secondarily. I know that for a fact. 70s. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was close. Not really. I'd be happy to see the joy on the Bills' faces after winning the Super Bowl. Okay. Let me tell you. Deoxys, I'm just going to tell you right now. Not because obviously I can't go. 4 tickets would, I don't know, just cost what, $100,000 for my wife and my boys. So I'm not going to go. But if the Bills make it to the Super Bowl this year, without question, we will be sitting right here in this room next February, excuse me. And we will be doing our live stream. Deoxys, were you with us when we were doing live streams during the season, or did you like start hanging out with us after the season? I don't know. Or Dadpool. Dadpool's relatively recent, I think, from coming over from TikTok. But whether you were or you weren't, I will be right here in front of this camera and this thing, and I will literally freak out. Talk about seeing the joy in Bills fans' faces. Forget about my face. My 11, who's going to be 12 in like a week, year-old son, and his 9-year-old brother will be, I don't know who would be more excited. It'd probably be me, to be honest with you. But it would be freaking insane. Insane. We live on a big piece of property. There's a couple ponds behind us, and one is like right off the house. So I might damn jump in it, even if it's frozen. Jump on it. Seriously. Somehow bring this camera or your cell phone and do something down there. It would be absolute insanity. I'm actually starting to get excited, which is one of the reasons why Jonathan Greenard need to be a Buffalo Bill. I keep saying this. Mama B, how are you, Mama B? Drewski back in the building. Mama B, he needs to be a Buffalo Bill. True Mafia's children have been nice to me and my family at road game. Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome to hear, because I will tell you, obviously, when you speak to enough people, you hear both. I don't hear much negative about Highmark in the Bills fans, obviously. Well, I guess it might not be obvious, but I don't. And And if I did, I'd be extremely disappointed because it should be a fantastic experience to come to an NFL football game due to the money that we're paying to go to these games, no matter where you're going, in my opinion. And there's absolutely no reason for anyone to be treated a shitty way for putting on or wearing the opposing team's jersey. Honestly. And especially because there's so many children around. And you can make that argument, well, don't bring your kids. Well, F you. How's that? How's that? We went to Cleveland. Obviously we're big Bills fans. And we're 2 hours away from Buffalo. In New York, upstate, we still get as shit on with the weather as anybody. But we're 2 hours away. So we go to a handful of games a year. We decided to go to Cleveland this year for one of the Christmas gifts I think we bought for the boys. But I think we went before Christmas, or was it after? I don't even know when the hell we went. Anyway, we went to Cleveland. We went on the road. Took a drive. It was 5 hours or so, 5.5 hours. And we went to that game on the road. And I will tell you, I don't know what the MO for Cleveland fans is, but I know they get pretty rowdy with their dog pound and stuff, and they're known to be very all-in style fans, right? Cleveland. Not a single freaking problem from anybody. Not a problem. And obviously we were all decked out in Buffalo Bills gear. And when we see other teams' fans, when they come to Highmark, we engage with them. We must have at one moment in time, last year, was it last year? It was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think. When the Bills played the Chiefs, and it was only like week 7 or 8. It was actually kind of warm. It was a 4 p.m. game. And it must have been 50 degrees. Like there was no jackets, nothing. It was not snowing by any stretch of imagination. It wasn't even raining. We were like surrounded by Chiefs people. And what a great time. What a great time we all had. Now, it meant a lot for us that the Bills ended up victorious, but what a great game it was. And to be truthful with you, it was a phenomenal, phenomenal night. And it always is. So anyway, that was me on my soapbox. You deserve that. Everyone deserves that, to be treated nicely when you're on the road or at home, if you go to a football game. And that's all I have to say about that, even though that was an extremely long rant. I'm coming to your Super Bowl party. I'm not far away. Oh, okay. Got it. Dadpool. Have we talked about, where are you from? Where do you live, Dadpool? Dadpool. Am I saying this right? Dadpool. ONYT. On it. Dadpool on it. Is that what that says? Start near the end of the year. Oh, following. Okay, gotcha. All right, so then you must have been or seen a live or 2 or 3 or whatever. If you jump in the pine, you got to film that. Oh, I will. 100%. Listen, if there's a Super Bowl victory, I'm going to do it live. Okay? I'm jumping in with my Keon Coleman jersey. Okay? I literally am jumping in the pond with my Keon Coleman jersey, which I usually wear during games. And that's it. Problem I have with having visited Buffalo and had wings there is that now I cannot. Sorry, I cannot find any good wings. Well, no, you're not going to. You're not going to find the type of wings that are in Buffalo, at least. And we've been all over. I mean, we lived just outside of New York City for a little while. We lived in New Jersey. When I played college and then minor league baseball, I mean, I've lived in Massachusetts, Virginia, Florida, Midwest, out in St. Louis. There's no wings like this anywhere. Believe it. Just stop trying. Unless somebody is going to open up a shop, with the secrets, then you're just not going to get it. Buffalo's just different than other fan bases. I truly think they are the best fans. Lots of passion. Patriots fans are very reserved. Oh, are they? If we were this close, and if the well, it would have happened. If we beat the Broncos, we would have went up to New England, and we would have been up there. I've never been to a Patriots game, but we would have made it this year for the playoffs. Texas, you live up there too, don't you? If we ever go, we got to meet up. And next year, if you're here, I don't know how old are you guys? Like, well, I know how old Dadpool is. First beer's on me, brother. Home of Woodstock 99. Dadpool on YouTube. On YouTube. Got it. All right, so I have no clue the answer to that. So Woodstock 1999. Okay. Got it. I won't say it. But fair enough. Now, you know where I am? I've said it more than once. So yeah, we're not far at all. Well, I mean, a little bit. Let's see. I think I have a few hours in mind. Okay. Did we last? Oh, we got to get back in. Oh my God, we get on these tangents, people. Okay, I got to show you guys another clip. Puka Nacua. That is a lot of money. I'm sorry, that is a very small amount of money to keep Puka Nacua for right now, but obviously that's not going to happen. All right, get rid of that, and we're going to bring up this. So we said before, I'm going to say it. Oh, I got to pause this. There he is. He's out on the right. Now he's not standing. He's not in his 2-point. He's in his, I think it's going to end. Yeah, it's 4. He's got 2 hands now, but I think he ends up in a 3. First of all, I want to just tell you, I showed you earlier, but I want to just tell you 2020, 1 sack, 24, 8 sacks, 25, 1.5. He got hurt. He didn't play 8 games. He played in 8 total games. 26, 12.5. I'm sorry, 23, 2023, 12.5. 24, 12. And then this past year, 3. So he knows how to get out the quarterback, and he's proven to do this. Here we go. Last one before Deoxys leaves. I see your note there. Just check this. I know you like this guy. Boom. I mean, what? He only had 3 sacks this year, but he got hurt. His shoulder was hurt. I mean, come on. This closing speed. First of all, he takes 4 steps in 8 yards. After he crosses the line of scrimmage, after he crosses this line right here, this line that his right foot is on, and he gets freed. Right from there, he takes 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's at the quarterback. The quarterback didn't even see it. Obviously, this is a stunt. He's going behind his tackle to his left, who's pushing the outside, and he's curling behind him. But the closing speed is insane. And he was barely touched. Barely touched these clips that I'm showing. He's just not even touched. You can't teach this, and some of it you can say, oh, a scheme mistake. They didn't know, who to put a hat on or whatever. Yeah, yes, that's all well and good. But the guy is an absolute freak, and we're going to get into more. And like I said, we're going to continue showing more on this man because I'm going to do more and more research on him and educate myself on Greenard even more so because I think he's an absolute stud, and he needs to be he needs to be a Buffalo Bill. Again, $18.4 million. I think it's a second and a fourth. They might want a second and a third. I'd rather just a second period or a second and fifth. But I think a second and a fourth gets it done. $18.4 million a year. Restructure him right away to another, maybe 3 years. You got 2 left on it right now, maybe 3. Save yourself some cap room this year with that signing. Throw him in there with Hoyt and Oliver and Russo. And my guess is, especially if they do this, that Epinesa, unfortunately, probably won't be around, although depth is not a bad thing at all. And then Michael Hoyt up and down, Becker on the line, vice versa, standing up. I think that he works for Jim Leonard in the 3-4 style defense. I think I'm also going to show you guys at some point. I don't have it here, but we're going to get back into it. He's a really high motor guy, and he goes to the whistle. All right? He absolutely plays to the whistle. I'm telling you. So he's a freak, and we just showed getting to the quarterback and stopping the run. I mean, what more do you want? I got to get more involved, but the money is fine. The draft capital is fine. The man is a stud. This is a move that they need to go after. And I know I'm asking you to make a play. I'm telling you what my play is, and I'm all in on the guy. I'm not just raising, I'm not just betting here. I'm literally all in, meaning if they haven't already called the Vikings, I'm pissed. If the Bills have not called the Vikings already, I'm literally mad. Put it that way. I'm not happy. You need to get all over this. So you guys let me know what you think. I'm going to call it quits for the evening. Woj just blew up the quarterback. Yes, indeed, he did. Oh, Deoxys heading to sleep now. Appreciate you, my brother. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, I'm convinced Bill should scoop him up. Pat should get Pierce. Then it is on. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm sure one of the two will probably happen. Would you trade Aaron Johnson and a third? Aaron Johnson. Taron Johnson and a third. Yeah. Yeah, unless they have plans for Taron Johnson. You know, if scheme-wise they feel that they can get a lot out of Taron Johnson because he obviously had a pretty poor year. But he's a good football player. And so far in his career, he's been much better than this past year has represented for Taron Johnson. And I'll give him that. So if they really truthfully believe that they can get more out of him and kind of get him back into his older ways, then maybe you got to keep the guy, right? But that's not me saying that he's worth a second-round pick because he's not. He's definitely not, especially nowadays, right? After that blank of a season for him in his regard. I'm just going to look at it really quickly here. I don't know this one off the top. Yeah, okay. So, unfortunately, Taron's got 11.4 of a cap hit this year and 12.8 of a cap hit next year. I'm just trying to think monetarily if this makes sense or not, and we'll kind of go through this together. Here we are. I'm going to pull this up. So if you notice, not until 28 will he be a free agent, and there's a couple of void years even after 2027. There's 2 void years. Mark, how are you, Mark? Good to see you, man. Appreciate you coming in. Just talking off-season stuff. Jonathan Greenard was a big, heavy topic, but right now we're talking Taron Johnson to see if he might be able to be thrown in the mix for a trade for Jonathan Greenard from Minnesota. Let's take a look here. Oh, man. Okay, so what we're looking at is pre-6-1. If he were to be traded, he would carry $9.5 million dead cap. It'd be $2 million, say $1.9 million savings. Post 6-1 trade. Wow, he'd only carry a 2.7 cap space or cap in 26, but then 6.7 in 27. But it would still amount to $8.6 million in savings with a post 6-1 trade versus $2 million savings pre. So it's a $6.7 million difference. You know, Dadpool, how cool would it be if we could work something out? I mean, I don't really think this happens, and nor should it. But if the Vikings really wanted him, and we could say to the Vikings, hey, we were going to give you a third rounder next year anyway, not this year. We'll give you Taron Johnson in your third on June 2nd. You know? I don't know if those talks happen. If anybody knows this. Do those talks happen? Can they pre-discuss what will happen after? And they probably can, right? Because, yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't see any reason that would be against the rules, but that's what should happen. I'm down with that. Taron Johnson in the third for 2027 after June 1st. So then we save. Well, then the problem becomes, then that money goes on to, a lot of that money goes on to him or the Vikings. And they're trying to save money. So they're not doing this because look, all of this, the base salary is what goes on to the Vikings. That passes along to the Vikings and the 8.1 million. I don't think that's going to work. Vikings would not take him. Yes, but free agency starts March 11th, but I'm talking about I'm not sure what happened over here on TikTok. Something happened. Hold on one second. What happened? TikTok, somebody tell me what happened. I got something suspended real quick. Drewski, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Restriction. What is it? Gifting. This behavior is not in line with our policies. What behavior? I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I don't think. Yes, they can start negotiating potentially, and the NFL season starts and free agency actually starts on March 11th. But what I'm talking about is plan something for June 2nd. Yeah, I'm sure they could. But again, regardless, the Minnesota Vikings are trading Greenard because they're trying to save cap space. To get rid of him, they're still paying $8 million. I mean, it'll save them some, of course, from the 18.4, but I don't know. I guess they could save 10 and have Taron Johnson. Maybe. I don't know. Good question. My gut tells me no, though. Although I would for the Bills. Hell yeah. All right, guys, that's going to have to do it. I appreciate all of you. I love you. It's late. I got to get to bed. Another day's tomorrow. But like we said, we are much more repetition now. We're going to be doing this a lot more often. We're going to be jumping on online and doing more videos more frequently. Made that commitment. So unless something changes, which I will let you know, you're going to start seeing us more often. Do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us everywhere you can. TikTok, YouTube, of course, Instagram, any and everywhere. We love you. Get those notifications. Share it to the world. Tell everybody. We're trying to really get to a point where we can start paying for all this stuff that we're buying, which I think is around the corner. But with all your appreciation and help and support, I'm sure we'll be able to get there. So appreciate you. Love everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow. If anything happens, we will absolutely let you know and be on top of the best we can. And as Dadpool says, we can wake up tomorrow to a trade. You're right. And if it's Mr. Greenard, I'm going to be freaking pumped. All right? A second and a fourth. The fourth being 2027. Greenard is now in a Buffalo Bills uniform. I am ecstatic. I hope I do wake up to that. Believe me, I could use that tomorrow morning. All right, everybody. Love you. Peace out. Go Bills. Cold front.